you know, the big question out there now is what are doctors saying about all of this? What are they saying about the rise of COVID in kids? So with that said, please welcome to the show Dr. Carlo Zeidenweber. He is a pediatric cardiologist with KIDZ Medical Services. Dr. Zeidenweber, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Strader, for having me here. I appreciate it.
Doctor, I want to ask you first and foremost, what are you seeing in kids and COVID?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I am very, very concerned. I have been concerned throughout the entire pandemic, but the past couple of weeks, I personally have seen an explosion of cases of COVID, and I'm very, very worried. Just today, for example, I heard we had a baby in the neonatal intensive care unit at Bethesda that developed COVID from the mother and just passed away today. I hear about cases all day long, patients going to the emergency room, me having to evaluate patients with COVID because, as you know, I'm a pediatric cardiologist and COVID can affect the children's hearts. So I get very frequently called in to see these patients. And so I'm just seeing COVID left and right. Everywhere I turn, I get phone calls for COVID. What do I do about the vaccination? And I wasn't seeing this even 3 weeks ago. I am very concerned now that the schools are opening, how serious this is going to get.
And doctor, why are the rates rising so fast, especially when it comes to children?
Well, I think part of the reason definitely is the Delta variant. The Delta variant has arrived in Florida. It's very clear. And it's a lot more contagious, and so people are getting it more. I think people are not being careful anymore. A lot of people have COVID fatigue, so they don't really care if they get it or not. At the beginning of the pandemic last March, everybody was at home. Now everybody's out. Nobody cares. Even now, to be having this discussion whether we should be wearing masks or not in school, to me is absolutely ridiculous. We shouldn't be having these discussions. It should be absolutely mandatory that every kid that goes to school should wear a mask. A lot of the kids, unfortunately, the vaccine is not available for kids that are 12 and younger. So those kids are getting COVID with the Delta variant, and it's just a fact.
And what are some ways that kids then can protect themselves? And what would you recommend? Because like you said, that option isn't available. We know that kids are headed back to the classrooms. So what advice do you have for parents in protecting their kids?
I mean, obviously the mask. I mean, the mask is something that we shouldn't even be discussing. Every kid should wear a mask, social distancing, washing your hands, try to do activities that are not indoors. And the pandemic has changed. I mean, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, things were not as bad. Right now, they're really bad. I already stopped going to restaurants, especially indoor restaurants. So if you're going to do activities, kids need to socialize, do things outside. Don't do activities inside. Wash your hands and be mindful of others. I think we live in a very selfish society and people care about themselves. And unfortunately, with this pandemic, if we don't care about each other, we're never going to get over it. Listen, nobody likes to wear masks, but we just live in this time that you have to wear them. It's that simple.
I really thank you so much for your insight, doctor, and we wish you nothing but the best as well. Thank you for joining our show tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And thank you for letting me say my message.